Easily over six figures, by far my biggest reno yet. I was able to come in, offer him the confidence, make the process easy for him, take care of everything. Basically, it's a sixplex I purchased kind of just over a year and a half ago. Completely redoing a 6-unit building is kind of what we're looking at doing. Initially, I knew this was going to be at least like a $40,000, $50,000 reno. Fit up a
just
nice
light
bathroom.
them up in the comments.
I love it. The hate fuels me. Let's say you're going to spend $20,000 in a unit, and that's going to increase the rent by $100 or by $200 per month. Like that's the 1% rule right there. You're hitting that. So yeah, it makes it kind of a no-brainer to put the money in, and you've built that equity.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video we catch up with Dylan McLauchlan, and Dylan breaks down for us some of the expenses and his experiences in doing a 6-figure renovation on a sixplex. So he dives into converting a bachelor apartment in this video, just shows us how he tweaked the layout to take it from probably one of the weirdest layouts you could imagine to a quite functional bachelor apartment. And not only that, he was able to increase the gross rents by almost 100%. Now that has a massive impact on your ROI and the valuation of the property. So this is kind of a hands-on approach to real estate investing while we're currently social distancing. So I'd love to get your feedback. Obviously this isn't as good as the old video tours we used to do at properties, but are you guys enjoying this format of video? If so, jump in the comment section and let us know, and we'll make more videos like this. But otherwise, let's just dive into it with Dylan.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here again with Dylan McLauchlan. Today's video, Dylan's going to break down for us a recent renovation project. Actually, I guess it's in progress right now, but you're looking at a 6-figure renovation on this new project?
Yeah, easily over 6 figures. By far my biggest reno yet.
So what's that look like?
So basically, it's a sixplex I purchased kind of just over a year and a half ago, and purchased a sixplex and kind of was slowly having it continue to cash flow. There was a bunch of tenants still in it. I think one of the tenants moved out initially after acquisition, but since holding it, I've been busy with a bunch of other backlogs, a bunch of other responsibilities, whether or not it was wholesaling, doing construction work, doing other property management tasks. And thankfully, because it was such a big building and it was a good deal, the building was holding itself. It was still cash flowing throughout this time. So really kind of this last year, I've started to turn on the heat and started to increase the renovations. And since then, luckily, I've had 4 out of the 6 tenants move out. So a nice turnover, a nice chance to really get in there and start doing some renovation work, as well as the entire exterior need to be redone, all the parking, a lot of the infrastructure. So yeah, basically it's completely redoing a 6-unit building is kind of what we're looking at doing.
Gotcha. And so how did you originally find this deal, I guess, before we get into the renovations?
Yeah, so this was an off-market deal. Actually, it was posted for rent online, and I ended up responding to the rental ad and talking with the owner, and basically it's the right time, right place. At the time, the previous tenant had completely trashed the unit. So the unit was going to be terrible, hard to rent out really soon anyways. Then additionally hit a tree that had fallen down and taken off kind of the front of the soffit and fascia of the property. He had raccoons getting into the roof, just a big mess of things happening, a big perfect storm. And this is kind of one of your ideal kind of leads you're looking for when you're trying to find deals. It was an older guy who had a couple of properties, handyman kind of thing, owned properties out of town, lived out of town. And so, yeah, he was at that stage in his life where he just didn't want to deal with all the headaches anymore, didn't want to deal with all the work, had already done it. One thing kind of off topic you notice is that when somebody renovates a property once, that'll maybe last them a decade, but a lot of times they don't want to renovate it again that second time. So he had kind of done version 1. It was good enough. It was handyman special, but just not very modern, not very usable. So yeah, that's why I was able to step in, offer him a good deal, offer him a quick and easy sale, which is a little trickier on these sixplexes, right? Because you're starting to dabble almost into the commercial side of things. Licensing is a little bit different. A little bit more of a headache getting things financed. So I was able to come in, offer him the confidence, make the process easy for him, take care of everything. And so that's how it presented itself.
Awesome. So I'm just going to pull up here a spreadsheet. And do you mind just breaking down for us high level how the numbers worked out on this deal?
Yeah, definitely. I might be a little bit behind, actually. If you keep me on my screen, I can even look up some of my original numbers. But so broad strokes of things would be the property. I got this deal here in London, Ontario. It was a sixplex for $300,000. So a year and a half ago, still an amazing deal then, still an amazing deal now, especially with how the market's been going.
And when you started dealing with this private seller, is that the price he started off at, or how did you end up at that price?
Yeah, so actually, this is kind of a great tidbit, I think. I actually started off at a lower price, which is completely crazy, especially dealing with those kind of negotiations. But the big thing I was sticking to, the big point I had is that I had to purchase a property for a good cap rate. And the thing was, this guy had the property super under rented, very low rents on a lot of the units. He had been offering the tenants incentives in terms of like if they were taking out garbage or doing lawn mowing or things like that, like giving a guy $50 to mow the lawn once a month, and the guy wasn't even doing a very good job of it. So when you looked at his cap rate was very small for what the building was or for what the building could be. So I was able to just stick with that. And that kind of gave me a good foothold to start anchoring in good numbers to come at. And my initial offers were a bit lower, and those were too low for him, but we kind of ended up working it out. And I think even psychologically, it was a bit of a lower number. And then when we came up to the 300,000, obviously psychologically, that's a little bit of a limit, right? When you get to an additional 100,000, an additional 50,000, things like that.
Do you remember what were the original rents on the property?
Yeah, so I don't want to misspeak off the top of my head, so I'm just going to pull up my notes. They were pretty under market, and some are still a little under market. And additionally, too, there was the vacancy right when I was moving into it. Yeah, so basically, when I took possession of this property, there was are you ready? Are you writing this down? You want to take this down? Awesome. Yep. So what I was seeing is unit number 1 was rented for $640 all inclusive.
Yep.
It was a 1-bedroom. Unit number 2, which is kind of a 1/2 bedroom, was rented for $700 a month. Mm-hmm. Unit number 3 was rented for, at the time, $450.
Seems low.
Yeah. So actually that one was $450, plus that was the guy who got the $50 benefit for mowing the lawn. He gave me, though, like right when I moved in, he wanted to move out right away. He didn't like the whole thing, change of management. But yeah, very low. Next, we had another 1-bedroom rented for $580. Mm-hmm. And then the next unit number 5, was vacant. And then the final unit was rented for $650.
Gotcha. So he was around $3,000 a month in rent. And then maybe he could get another $700 a month for that vacant unit?
Yeah. Actually, even at the time, that's kind of when we started to see the rental market kind of jump up here in London. So, yeah, I'd say.
What would you peg it at?
$750. Yeah.
$750. Yeah. Okay. So already above the 1% rule. I like it. Mm-hmm. And then, so what did you figure for renovations on this property?
Yeah. So getting into it, I knew this would be a pretty substantial deal, a substantial amount of renovations. Coming into it, I kind of knew the numbers were already so good. There was tons of juice left in it because everything was so under rented. So I knew I would have the margins. So I didn't really do a massive breakdown in terms of renovation costs, but I was basically looking at redoing 2 of the units right at the get-go. Those 2 vacant units. I had the one that gave me notice and the other one. So, you know what I mean? Right off the top of my head, I would budget like $10,000 to $20,000 to flip over a unit. Then additionally, this property needed all new soffit, fascia, capping, and then probably all new windows. So when I was getting into it, I was just kind of looking at like, well, I'm probably going to have to throw in like $40,000 to $50,000 into this building, like pretty quickly in the process. Mm-hmm. Earlier on, about a year and a half ago, and even 2.5 years ago, I was doing a lot more of my own work on the renovations, and I was playing the game in a much more frugal manner, which is a great way to do things. And you can definitely stretch your dollar a lot farther there. But additionally, once you start getting into bigger projects, you only have so many hours in the day. And additionally, managing guys at a discount, you can only stretch that so far. So yeah, initially I knew this was going to be at least like a $40,000, $50,000 reno. But I knew this had definitely some scope creep built into it because once again, when you're dealing with 6 units, you just have to multiply things. And things can increase pretty quickly.
What did you figure the gross rent could be if you were to flip over all the units?
Cashflow Tribe.
Hey YouTube, have you checked out Cashflow Tribe yet? It doesn't matter whether you're an experienced, seasoned investor or brand new to the game. I can probably predict if you're currently not having the level of success you want as a real estate investor, it's due to one thing. That one thing is you're not making enough offers, plain and simple. You need to be making more offers as a real estate investor if you want to hit those big, audacious goals that you're setting for yourself. So here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe, that's the community that myself and Ben were making together. And so Ben's actually so busy trying to provide value to you guys that he had to take off there. But here's the deal. Cashflow Tribe is really a one-of-a-kind community focused on results. That's the difference between us and everyone else. We want to get you guys those results. I'm tired of seeing people commenting on my YouTube channel for 2-3 years now, but they're not making offers. What's holding you back? I'm going to guess that it's either a lack of confidence or a lack of competence. And we cover both of those things in Cashflow Tribe. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you guys a 14-day free trial offer. You can join Cashflow Tribe completely free, get it tested out. If you like it, great, stay and pay. If you don't, well, I hope you at least find one great idea that you can take away and use to start making more offers, gain more deals, and finally start making the money related to real estate investing that's probably why you're watching my YouTube channel. So let's do this, guys. Let's make 2020 your year.
Cashflow Tribe.
But I knew this had definitely some scope creep built into it because once again, when you're dealing with 6 units, you just have to multiply things, and things can increase pretty quickly.
What did you figure the gross rent could be if you were to flip over all the units?
Yeah, so at the time, I knew I could get things up to above $4,000 pretty easily because once again, even with that initial unit that was like at 400, 450, I knew I could almost get that up to, 800. Now I'm even optimistic. I'm thinking like 950, maybe even tickling 1,000. So yeah, I was hoping just to break 4,000. And then as this project, once again, it's been almost a year and a half, bit over that. So that scope has been kind of creeping ever since.
Gotcha. So I guess if I was to guess on what fair market values could be for a property like that, fully flipped over, I would think you'd be probably $1,000 per unit on average. So probably $6,000 a month is the theoretical gross rents you could get.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that sound right?
That sounds exactly right.
Okay, cool.
Your stuff. Done this
you've
before.
got some photos to share with us?
Yeah, definitely. So nothing too expansive because once again, we're still finishing off some of the finishing touches and some of the major parts on the outside. But I did have like kind of a really cool kind of story I want to share with you guys in terms of like that back $400 a month unit, basically like what that actually looked like. And then also too, kind of what we've taken it to now. Once again, the professional photography hasn't been done yet. But I do have a quick little video walkthrough I can show you guys and I'll kind of like explain it and walk through. So
all right. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, we'll go to the before right here. So here's the back of the property, all the parking. Once again, if you guys can see my mouse, I'll kind of use it as my pointer.
Yep.
There was tons of potholes, super muddy. So this is all being redone as well. So here's the back unit. Basically, it's this nice little addition. It builds into the property. So you kind of come in here and boom, here it's a bachelor unit. And as you can just see, gross carpets, it's that gross fiber floor, like easy stick kind of flooring. It always buckles and wrinkles up. Yeah, pretty gross unit, although it did have a nice big closet here. But so here's where you get into the absolute worst layout of all time. So basically, you come through this hallway. Here's another example of the unit. Anyways, you come through the hallway, and there's the shower stall right in the hallway, right beside your carpet floor. You have your shower stall right through your hallway. So, somebody's taking a shower. You got to pass by them. They don't even have a door on their shower. They're basically just hanging out there on your way to the kitchen. And then on your way into the kitchen, there really was no countertop space. There's just like a little kind of shelf thing that the guy had put up. But you have your gas line run for your stove, which is actually useful, and continue to have a gas line as well as put in some electrical there just in case you have the option of both. But I kind of hate this layout. You'll see people try to do this to save space. But when you have a layout like this, you really have no countertop space. So think about it. Somebody's trying to use the stove. They might want to put ingredients beside that they can like sprinkle in or things like that. It's just a terrible layout because it's so cramped. So you have both your appliances there. Once again, it creates a choke point coming into the kitchen. And then here, guys, this was the craziest. This was the worst part. You have this little like stall of a toilet here with your vanity right beside where your sink is and right across from your stove. Like, this is just absolutely unusable. As you can see, there's no door. There isn't even a curtain here. Like, really, this is no attempt at a bathroom. This just doesn't work. And then here's the sink for you. If you're into the antique look or the rustic look, I don't know, this could be your thing, but this isn't my thing at all. I dislike the single basin sinks. I find it just, you don't have as much space to get work done. And yeah, so all of this obviously had to go. You have the old kind of wooden tiling there. Yeah, just a gross unit, And actually, it's funny because at the time this was at 450/400. Initially, I was really busy when the guy gave offer to move out, and so I brought in some people to just tidy it up and just put some fresh coat of paint, make things a little tidy. I was going to see if I could rent it out at maybe like 650, and I had a lot of responses to my ads, but as a landlord, I just didn't feel right putting this on the market, just such a shitty product. I knew I would deal with headache, and I knew I would just be kicking the can down the road. So I was like, you know what, screw it. Like, we just got to gut it and we got to redo it. So I'll show you. So I'll bring up the video of where it was. I believe I have that. Yeah, bring up the video. So here is kind of the walkthrough I'm doing now. I skipped ahead a little bit. But basically what I did was that closet previously, that closet up in here, I ended up taking that, stealing space from the closet, rotating the shower inward and building the wall around it, and then using like the bathroom space that was already there, and actually ended up getting a pretty cool layout. So yeah, I'll show you guys this. So here's kind of the video walkthrough. So this was all the closet previously. Yeah. And I kind of opened that all up, fit a nice little vanity in there. You got the vanity.
Gets a door.
Yeah. Once again, I apologize. There's no steady cam on this. This isn't typical Matt McKeever type camera work, but yeah, fit up a nice.
Just light them up in the comments, guys. You're going to do it anyways.
Hey, who's that? Yeah, I love it. The hate fuels me. And then open this up. I actually still want to create a little breakfast nook in here, but then come through. Here's the new kitchen space now, nice and linear, super functional. So still need to do some finishing touches.
Nice. But, you even got a dishwasher in there.
Yeah, dishwasher, double sink. That was a pro tip from Kellen Panicia. I'll give him a shout out. He's a wealth of knowledge. But yeah, it's just when people are looking through on what they're going to rent, it's almost like they have a checklist in their mind. Like they're like, oh, dishwasher, check mark. Oh, AC, check mark. So if you can install things like that. Additionally, one of the kind of cool solutions too that I threw in here that I'll see if I can highlight is, if you look at the range hood over here, this is actually just a common range hood, very discount versus like the stainless steel kind of pyramid style. And then this is just kind of a white metal capping built around a frame to give it that kind of nice venting look. Unfortunately, we had to kick it out to do a 90 for it to vent outside because there's no way to go up above. But on other units where I could go through the roof or something like that, then it's actually like very budget to just kind of get somebody who can bend up some capping, some white metal, and have a nice kind of vented look like that. Very budget, versus if you're buying extra cabinets or you're buying the pre-made ones, which cost a couple $100, right? So.
Yeah, this is amazing, Dylan. This looks fantastic compared to what you had before, right? Like this is a completely functional, nice bachelor apartment now. Yeah, man. I appreciate it. And so previously we were at like 400, 450. Now I'm looking between 900 and 1,000 to rent this one out. I think though, to push it up to 1,000 because it is such a small unit, I might have to step in and start utilizing, start building in some storage solutions for people, or maybe furnishing it a little bit. And like, that's a big thing. Like that's what you guys got to do if you're property managers or landlords. Like a unit like this could potentially be good for somebody who is Airbnb or doing a short-term stay. But at the end of the day, like giving people a blank slate can be nice in some
circumstances, but if it's kind of a quirky product that you're trying to sell, you really need to show your customer like, hey, this is how you can use this space. Like, I'm expecting to do a storage, like a nice hanging solution on the wall behind the door. Once again, nice little bench with like things that'll go out for shoes and for coats and stuff as well. That'll tuck in nice and neat with where the bathroom door opens. So yeah, I think I want to put a little bit extra time and a little bit extra love in that unit. I was maybe going to experiment with Airbnb in it a little bit as well. Obviously now that strategy might have to change, but yeah, it'd be a great unit for somebody who's working in town, you know what I mean, just needs a place to crash, to lay their head for a good price.
And would you be able to estimate for the audience roughly what the renovation cost was for this specific unit?
Yeah, so actually that one stuck pretty much to thumb. I think it was just $22,000 is what it ended up coming to. So
nice.
Yeah.
Seems definitely worth the ROI.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one kind of big rule of thumb I use. I'm sure all of your listeners should be familiar with the 1% rule, but really you can backwards engineer the 1% rule, and that kind of gives you a good guideline on if you're overspending on renovations. Because if you're going to spend, let's say you're going to spend $20,000 in a unit, and that's going to increase the rent by $100 or by $200 per month. Like, that's the 1% rule right there. You're hitting that. So yeah, it makes it kind of a no-brainer to put the money in. And you've built that equity. So it's not like you're literally losing that money. If you're able to get a refinance or reappraisal, then yeah, you still basically get that money.
Love it.
Thanks again for watching this video, and thanks to Dylan McLauchlan for taking the time to break down for us his renovation experience on his current sixplex project. Again, I think just the more points of reference and the more different scenarios and stories you guys can hear, hopefully the better understanding you're going to have and the better confidence you're going to have in real estate investing. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.